All right, and welcome to Coach's Corner. We are going to be going through Opulence with this video, thanks to Fat Boss, and we've got one more here for you guys. This is Opulence, the Treasure Guardian, Treasure Boss, whatever you want to call it. This is probably one of the best encounters by far, one of the coolest ones, something we've been asking for a long time, many, many years. If you guys remember Spoils of War back in Mists of Pandaria and Siege of Orgrimmar, similar, but 1,000 times better. This is a really cool encounter. It's a mix of spoils, mix of mother, mix of just Indiana Jones treasure stuff. It's a lot of fun. So we'll go through it here in a second. Thanks again to Fat Boss for putting together this video for us so we could use it. Basically, the boss or the raid needs to be split up into two groups. And you want to split these groups up into, fairly even. Two healers on each side, two DPS, or a bunch of DPS on each side of one tank, because you have these massive guardians. Now, this is the last phase of the encounter. Once you actually get back to the treasure room, you've seen this obviously in the scenarios that you've done. All right, so there are three paths, as Fat Boss puts it here. There's the middle path, which is the path to get yourself killed. Basically, if you go this way, the two guardians each buff the boss by 100%, so more damage, more HP, all that fun stuff. And there is it is mathematically impossible to defeat this boss if you go down the middle and just pull the boss. So you have to split your raid up and go either left or right. One side is much easier than the other. You'll see. All right. So again, this is one of the reasons why you can't, because he does his horde power and he pulls the energy and he starts murdering people, as you can see here. There we go. All right, so here they're going to start splitting up the boss. So you split the raid in half. You can see here they put groups 3 and 4 in this side. This side is actually the easier side. So if you have ranged DPS, you typically want to put them on the left side or the west side, because the abilities are much more forgiving and you don't have to be as mobile of a player in order to be successful. Basically, these bosses, one is Yalad's Bulwark, the other one is the Hand of Inisaja here. They both need to be killed. 10%, 10% is your goal for every single room. So there's little rooms. You can see here on the map, one little room every single way, 10% for every single room, until you eventually kill these things to get them down and go back into the main room. So this guy has, yes, big hands here. One of his big abilities is this crush. It is a big frontal 180 crush that is going to murder you. Both of the guardians do it. Now, what it's going to go through here, so here's the consuming flame. You can see here, when you go from one room to another, you can't actually backtrack, because a big room of, like if you guys remember Mother, the room fills with fire or smoke or whatever, and basically kills anybody that's still in it. So here's casting consuming flame, and there is going to be flame in that entire room. So you can't actually go back and join that group. That would be unfair. All right, so here we go with the first abilities. So of course you've seen this before. Flame jets, you've seen it on so many bosses. Mother, right? We've seen laser beams. You've seen flame jets on Blackrock Foundry. Same thing here. There are a maximum of 3 flame jets. There are 2 safe spots right now of these 5 possible positions, and you stand in between them, right? Super simple. So here's the first crush. He's going to lift one side of his hand, and he's going to crush that entire frontal section. Super important that you don't stand in front of the boss, otherwise you'll be murdered. And you're going to be asked, hey, why did you die? Because you were standing in the wrong spot, and rating comes down to standing in the right spot and killing the ads. That is what this fight is, like every other encounter in the game. Stand in the right spot, kill ads. So stand behind the boss, don't get crushed, and kill the ads. All right, there's a big frontal, stuns, and it's going to murder people. There's another crush. Just adjust yourself each time. Play it safe. Don't be up his butt in his hitbox. Play it safe with these crushes. Again, make sure the tanks do have HP to survive it as well. You can see, it won't kill you, but it will do massive damage and stun you. If it stuns you in a fire, you're probably going to die. This is a volatile charge. So depending on the rooms, so the rooms change. Sorry, not the rooms change. There's different abilities in each room. You don't need to know and memorize which of the rooms do what. You just need to know what to do for each of the abilities. Flame jets, don't stand in fire. Volatile charge drops a little static thing on you. You need to drop it off to the sides of the room. Ideally, the sides of the room right over here, where my mouse is, not in the little doorway here. So you'll see here, he's got some time. He's got stunned there by the charge. Not a great idea. Now he's going to have to run over and drop it off. Probably not the best spot to drop it off either, because it's going to do this little static pulsing thing right? You've now taken this possible spot away from the rest of your raid. When you're dropping these off, there you go, much better spot. You can actually overlap them a little bit, but put them by the walls where you can. Now, the guy on the right side, you're going to see what he does. So he's a huge pain in the ass. The reason why you want your more mobile guys on the right side is because of this. That is super fast on heroic difficulty. That is incredibly, incredibly fast. I don't know what the keyboard turner is going to do out there. Like I don't know. And like I'm legitimately not making fun of them. I don't know if it is tuned appropriately to the right speed for the average heroic raider. I just don't know what they're going to do. You can see here, there's actually 2 flames going out, so the entire middle spot was free, and there's a bit of a spot there. But at the same time, you're running through the flames, right? So what could have Tank done a little bit better? Well, if you see which way the flames are coming and you know his flames of punishment are happening, well, maybe tank the boss over here if possible, right? Because then your raid is then going around here and not having to run through the fire. Like you are legitimately forced to run through the fire in order to deal with his flames of punishment. Here, same thing. You know where it's coming. Okay, move the boss to a safe spot, right? Here comes flames of punishment. Now, the hunter here was out of position. He should have been with the boss the entire time. So it is the tank's responsibility to put it in a safe spot. This is a good safe spot. Tank or the hunter was out of position, so he ran through. I mean, he used his turtle, which is fine, stayed alive, and was able to survive through it, right? Worst case, use your abilities and get through it. There we go, and now there's going to be 2 flames. That's the other one. Now, in some of the rooms, there's a Ruby Beam. You've seen this ability so many times. The ENR was the last time you've seen this ability. It targets one player, it drops little flame or fel patches on the ground, follows you. You know, this is where you draw a little, phallus, or you write your name on it. But it's a slow-moving beam. Don't kite it over your friends. Do be spread out. Right, so you're dealing here with both the charge as well as the beam. Now, when this guy does really well is you can kite it over itself. Watch what he does. You can see it, and then back over itself. So there's a bit of a delay, and it's super slow moving. So if you can do that, that is awesome, because you're giving your raid more room to move. And if you just cut it across the entire room, well, then they're forced potentially to run through this fire beam that you placed improperly and take damage. You want to minimize that damage over possible. Yes, or kite it over midgets. Perfect. Or midgets will kite it over you. Or grip players into it. Again, here's the static. There's the crush again. Now, one of the other abilities, so we're going to backtrack here. So one of the rooms is actually this one here, this noxious room. And you need to keep players alive. They're taking damage. If they drop under a certain amount of HP, they get a nice buff here, a stat increase in order to burn this quicker. But eventually, you're going to run out of room. So there is a bit of a soft enrage or soft DPS check on every single one of these rooms. You can't just, bring 10 healers because, well, you're going to run out of room from the flame patches, from the blue patches, from not having enough damage to actually kill this room as well. And this is what's going to be really terrifying for healers is you want to bring people down to 50% so they gain a stat buff. But you want to heal them back up. But it is really terrifying because you're dealing with these stupid blue patches as well as trying to keep people alive through the dot. It's really terrifying healing to be doing. Okay, so back to this one. Here's Flames of Punishment. Again, look at who they have set up on this side. Typically melee, right? So these guys right here, they have the mobile hunters. They've got their priest. They've got a holy paladin. These are their mobile players that they're putting on this side. And there's flames again here. There you go. You see what that did? Okay, well, now they got a little lucky, but they moved to the next phase. Now, this is one of the coolest parts of this fight. In this room, you choose gems, and the gems give you a massive buff. You guys remember last time we got these massive buffs? Ultraxian and Dragon Soul. That is basically the equivalent of how strong these things are. Every player should be getting some kind of gem. Each of the gems do something different. The tank gem, for instance, is the diamond gem. And it gives you a massive damage absorb, right? 300,000, whatever, 900,000 damage. It's something crazy. So he takes the diamond gem. The healers will be taking the blue and purple ones. The DPS do, the other ones here. We have it set up on our spreadsheet of who takes which gems, but it's really important. You do want, here's the ruby. So your attacks cause the target to take 1% more damage for 5 seconds. You'll want somebody taking this one, right? You take 1% more damage for 5 seconds. Not bad, right? You want somebody taking that one. The Emerald here, standing still gives you stacks, which increase your damage by 1%. This is for players that are going to be standing off in Zimbabwe and DPSing, right? So you get more and more damage. It keeps ramping up the more you stand still. You are forced to move at some points, but this is great for classes that are typically standing still anyway, so not hunters. Here we'll go through the next one. So that was the Emerald. The next one, here it's got a little record that says stay still for stack, so he's getting 6% more damage. The Opal, each new creature you attack permanently increases your damage done by 2%. Okay, so permanently increases your damage done. It seems really strong, or sorry, it seems really bad, except in the last phase, there is a shit ton of adds. You will be constantly switching to adds, to adds, to adds, to adds, and this is going to ramp up very, very quickly. So you're doing 50% more damage, you know, to all the different phases, because there's little adds. There's like 8 of them that spawn. You're going to do a ton more damage, ramping up pretty quickly. So this is a really strong one to take as well. And of course, it does stack. So that's the Opal. Here we're going to deal with, this is the Topaz. So this is a really interesting one. So you'll see, keep an eye on this guy, it says. So this guy gets the Topaz, so they have to stay away from everybody else. They'll have a big thing above their heads. Don't go near them. If they get enough stacks by them standing alone here, so nobody should be running near him, they get a massive buff to buff the entire raid for 20 seconds. So they increase the crit chance of all nearby players by 100, so you're guaranteed to crit by 100% for 20 seconds. It'll drop when other players are, when near other players, but not when the aura is active. So you want to keep this person away from each other up until the stacks build up, then bring them in and just go massive crit on everybody else. So all of these buffs synergize super, super well. More damage, more crit, all that fun stuff. It's going to murder the adds in that last phase. So it's really important that you are assigning and you know which orb or which gem you are taking prior to engaging in this encounter, right? So as a healer, I should know which gem I'm taking. And there's only 2 gems that healers take. Go through the healer ones next. Hopefully. Healers? Maybe not. And then, of course, this is the last phase where you want to be doing it. All right, here we go. This is a priest. Perfect. Now, yeah, Thief's Bane. After gaining a jewel, you will gain 30-second debuff, which deals lethal damage upon expiration. Yeah. All right, so here's the Amethyst. So when you are a healer taking the Amethyst, it increases your haste by 50%, so quite a lot more healing, so you're just bombing heals and everybody else. At the same time, you are giving them a massive shadow damage reduction. So the shadow damage that goes out in the last phase, it is reduced by 90%. Really, really strong. And then, of course, it restores mana as well. So it is a super fun last burn phase, lots of big numbers from taking the Amethyst. So you do want to have one person, so one healer on each side taking this debuff, right? So I'm a paladin, sure, I'll take this debuff, or the priest takes this debuff in order to generate, see these little purple things right here? These are the debuffs on your raid. You want to make sure your entire raid has them the entire time. You can't see it on my screen there, but Fat Boss does not have it right now. So that is the Amethyst one. Have one healer get this one. And we'll go through the last one in a second here. All right, and then the Sapphire, again, the healer only. This is what you'll give all your other healers. So let's say you have 5 healers or whatever. Your other heals will get this one. So your heals give the target a buff, which increases their damage done by 5% for 30 seconds. So it's a stacking buff, which is amazing. And then once they gain the full stacks, it increases their damage output by 100% for 12 seconds. So like a massive DPS buff. Again, as a healer, you want to be healing every single person in your raid to give them this massive buff. Really important to do that. Do hot ticks buff these things? I'm not sure. It may just be direct heals. It may be, like Light of Dawns, that kind of stuff to do it. I'm not sure if how the hots actually work with these gems. So that is phase 1 in a nutshell. You are dealing with all the rooms. It is a super fun encounter. Here they're going to overload. Yeah, they're going to spread. This is the last room. Drop off the things. There you go. They're dropping it off. Perfect. And you want to DPS this boss, or DPS these adds down, these mini bosses. Now it's really important. Here's the other big one. This was really bugged apparently on their end, but they were also having European latency compared to PTR. Again, I think it's too quick for heroic. I think it's going to murder people too quickly. We'll see what tuning's like. But here you can see they had to actually run ahead of it in order to beat it. It's too quick. Like, it is legitimately too quick for the average heroic player out there. And that is more mythic difficulty speed. So once you kill both of them, and realistically, if your side kills one too quickly, well, you have to wait for the other side anyway. So you do want to split up DPS and balance them pretty well. So you're going to run from both sides and then engage the boss here, the Treasure Guardian. So he does a coin sweep, which is a single target on a tank, which is a large burst of physical damage. You know, it's a coin sweep, right? Not a huge deal. Just straight up physical damage. Now you'll see this other ability here. So Liquid Gold spawns a patch of molten gold upon expiration. You want to be dropping this off at the edges of the room where possible. So you'll see here which of these players gets it. There you go. You can see them running out. Not this guy. This one is the coin shower. So with the coin shower, you want to stack on this person because it splits like 1.2 million damage. You see he has a little weak core, a little thing that says stack on me, stack on me. So you want, if you're nearby, run to this person in order to minimize the damage on them and not kill them. Yeah, there's the coin shower. It's a ton of damage. So they want to get at as many people as they can. You can see here, these guys, there you go. This guy dropped off the golden patch. Again, to the sides of the room, give the rest of your room more real estate to move. It's also really important because in this later phase, you're going to have ads, and you don't want these little patches in the middle of the room where your players have to actually run through. There you go. They die, drop off the patches. Not a good time. All right. Now, the Spirits of Gold, this one is really important. You're going to see a couple of bad things in this video where they use a Ring of Peace. You don't want to use a Ring of Peace if you can help it, especially at the start. If you have CC classes, Blood Decays, Vortexes, AoE stuns, whatever, grips, in order to AoE the crap out of these things, again, this is where one of the gems earlier, you can switch between targets. That's where it's going to be really beneficial to ramp up your damage. So watch what happens. These things will spawn. There. These things spawn and start moving to the outside of the room. Once you get outside, they start channeling, and you know you're going to get murdered. Once these ads spawn, then you need to burn them down. So this Ring of Peace was a really bad idea because it actually knocked them away closer to the edges, closer to their final destination. You want to minimize that. You can stun these, slowly Ring of Peace them back towards the boss, but you don't want them on the outside. And of course, there's the wall of greed, or the Whale of Greed, 10-second channel. You can see these going on the outside. You can see all these bad patches of coin. Again, clear it, keep it safe, drop all this stuff off to the edges. Keep the middle of the room clear for the boss wherever possible, right? Ideally, right here is where you want to be flanking the boss. And again, these ads are going to get to the side here, going to do their channels. You can route them. You can see they're channeling gold, and the more channels that are going to happen, he's going to start murdering everybody. So you want to do it before he murders the entire raid. But that is the boss in a nutshell here from phase 1 to phase 2. Pretty fun encounter. I'm actually going to show you which I actually have one more really good video of this. Yeah, it's a pretty heroic mechanic, you're right. I have one more video for you guys of Opulence. I believe this is, this was, Jax. Okay, so, in order to show you guys, this was fun. They went through it again. All right, I'm going to show you guys one more video here. This one is right here. So this is a priest perspective, and what they did was they actually said, hey, you know what, we want to see the last phase. So they stacked the entire raid on one side and kept the tank and healer on the other side. So you can see here the Brewmaster and the Paladin are just going to dick around the entire time over here, and the entire raid is going to stay on the left side so they can burn through these phases. And this is a pretty quick 5-minute video, and you'll see exactly what happens. So they're in this room first, moving him over here. There you go. They tanked them over to the side here a little bit too quickly, or too late. So they have to go into the second room because the first room is going to fill with fire. And now they're going to start dealing with the mechanics. So here are the flame jets coming out. Again, middle spot, the tank pulls him to the middle spot. That's what you want to be doing, right? As a tank, put him to the safe spot. This priest doing a smart move here by dropping off little orbs in the corner to not affect the rest of the raid. You have to watch out for the flame jets at the same time, and be aware of other people that have the debuff as well. So they're just breezing through this right now because they have a ton of people on one side. Okay, now they're in the next room here. This room, they are going to have Yeah, the flame patches. There you go. There's the beam. There are 2 beams going out, or there either the 1 beam there. And there's volatile charges as well. At the same time, you see the star marker runs it off to the side. Little weak or thing that says, hey, I'm dropping off in a couple seconds. Again, drop these off to the side here. Minimize how many patches there are of flame, as well as of electric shocks, to give your raid the middle room to use to move around to DPS and heal. All right, and then move to the next one. This is the corner room. In the corner room, they take a lot of damage. This is the one where, volatile charges, as well as the poison debuff, I believe. And of course, you're dodging the charges the entire time. When you're in phase 1 in Opulence, never be with the tank. Never be in front of these big mini bosses. Yeah, they're taking quite a bit of damage here from the debuff. They need to burn really quick. And so every 10%, the boss will then open up the next room. So they're just burning things super quickly here. Again, this side is the easier side because it is less movement intensive. So, as raid leaders, put some of your weaker players on this side. There's the I-beams again, casting on a player, as well as volatile charges, so you know what to do with these mechanics. Blow them up. All right, there, he ice blocked that one, so it went to somebody else directly. So this one is standing in the fire as well as dropping this off. Probably not the smartest move, but he did drop off that one a little bit later, which was good. All right, here, they're almost in the next room. So they actually had somebody DC in this section. You can see a triple flame vent on the far side, so keep the boss on this side, which is good. There's a barrier because of the massive explosions. Perfect. Flame jets are now on them, so they have to move as a raid. And however you want to communicate these flame jets, one way is call 1 and 2. Those ones are taken, or this is 4 and 5 about to spawn. Maybe you call 4 and 5 as the ones that are about to activate. So 4, 5, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you can say 3 is safe. So 3 is the middle one. 1 is safe. You can see 1 here, 1 and 3 safe here in a second. See, 3 and then 1 are safe. However you want to do it as a raid, communicate it, right? The more communication, the better you can do it as a raid team. Here they go into the gem room. Again, they are burning the crap out of everything. So they're going through things really quickly because they have like 6 more DPS on their side than they should. Here they're going to grab their gems. This one took the amethyst gem. And so the amethyst gem, again, is giving people the shadow debuff. And so they're going to burn through this last little phase here. Get more volatile charges. So make sure you guys get your gems really quickly and then deal with your stuff. You can see here 2 guys have the opals, which they have a big little circle, or the big circle over their heads. They're standing really far away from everybody else, right? Over here and over here. Don't be near these guys. Don't be that guy that screws over your raid because you want to go hug somebody else. All right, they're going to burn through this last little phase here, staying spread out. Watching for those charges. Again, these guys dropping them off to the far side of the room, but don't run over your friends that are trying to stack debuffs. Here he's got a 5 stack of the damage buff, which is awesome because he's a priest, a holy priest. I mean, you're going to get it anyway. It doesn't matter. So they're going to burn through this phase really quickly because they have so many players. Again, and you have all those buffs, right? You have those things that are stacking, things taking more damage. You're just murdering them really quickly. All right, they're going to go into the last phase here in a second. All right, again, more and more of these as there is a bit of a soften rage as these things are getting bigger and they explode more on your raid. So you want to be watching where you're standing. Ultimately, you may not be able to get the buff on your players that are supposed to be off by themselves. Again, when you're running across here, be aware of these things. You don't want to get hit. Here they actually had somebody DC, so this priest, this smart priest, that long-ass life grip gets him over here. Now, because they only did one side, you can still see on the right side here the little monk and paladin over here. There, and they brought over their ad, of course, or their ad's going to come here in a second. The boss has like 100% more damage, so he's going to start murdering the tanks. Liquid Gold just immediately murdered somebody here. Again, you have to kill these 2 big ads. There's no way around it. So, tanks dying, yeah, as Cloud says there, this was obviously for testing, so you get to see the entire phase. There's the Spirits of Gold spawning. At that point, stuns, Frost Novas, Vortex. One of the best things you guys can do there as a raid team is assign them. All right, we got a leg sweep, followed by a leg sweep, followed by Frost Nova, followed by grip, followed by whatever, right? Have all those things in advance so those things aren't moving, right? That is the goal, so those things are not moving at all. All right, that is Opulence in a nutshell. Fun boss, super fun boss, probably one of the best ones this tier so far.